All right, everybody. Wanted to provide you with a few specific models for using Kirchhoff's laws, and you should have a printout or a screen view of the sheet Practice with Kirchhoff's laws. That's in the folder for class 24. Number 1A, you got a one loop circuit here, nothing fancy. We could solve this using just Ohm's law, but as with the video that I asked you to look at from the engineering guy, it's easier to see how Kirchhoff's laws work if you apply it to something that you could solve by some other method. Now in this problem, somebody figured out that there is a ½ amp of current flowing, and they've indicated that it's in the clockwise direction. It's going to go here to the right, here down, here to the left, here back up. And we have two batteries. One's 12 volts trying to push the current in a clockwise way. And over here, look who's fighting him, 4-volt battery in the counterclockwise way. As you saw in the FET simulation, that's not really a problem. You can force current through a battery the wrong way. Your battery might not like it. It might not be good for the battery's life, but you are allowed to do that. The thing is, when you apply Kirchhoff's voltage law and go around the loop, you have to remember that batteries that you encounter going backwards, so to speak, they are acting like kind of a resistor. They're changing your voltage, not by increasing it, but they are decreasing it, like a voltage drop across a resistor. So the starting point, as always, is going to be this lower corner. I like to start there. You're going to see that's what I'm going to call my standard starting point. And they've designated that as the letter F. As we go from F up here to G, we're crossing the battery, and you can already see that they've added in the 12 volts. What we want to do is figure out, as we go through each of the other elements, how much voltage change do you see? So let's do this together. From G to A, what we're doing is we're crossing a 1 ohm resistor. We know that we have ½ an amp. So the change of voltage here, it's a drop. So delta V for that resistor is a negative value. And what we do is we take the current I and multiply times R. In this case, we have minus 1 times 0.5. We have minus 0.5 volts. I'm having a little bit of trouble writing here because I'm using the mouse rather than the pen on the board. So I hope you also think it's kind of funny. So that's a 0.5. From A to B, we're crossing this guy. It's a bigger resistor, so there's a bigger voltage drop. It's minus 0.5 times, looks like that's a 5 also. So I'm going to call that minus 2.5 volts. We'll know if I'm wrong about whether that's a 5 or a 3 at the very end because I won't get 0. The claim is that when we add up all these things, we get 0 volts change. Once again, that's a statement of energy conservation. The batteries add energy typically, and the resistors subtract it. All right, B to C, got another 5 ohm here, so we know that that's going to give us minus 2.5. When I hit the next component, C to D, we have a battery going across it backwards, and as a result, we are going to have a loss of 4 volts. You can see the positive terminal indicated here, the negative terminal, so our voltage drops there. D to E, we're going across another 1 ohm resistor. So just stealing this guy's value, we have minus 0.5. And the final component we've got is a 4 ohm resistor. So we have minus 2 volts there. I've gotten sloppy. I've stopped including my units with every value, but they are all in the same units. So we can just now add them together. So we start with 12. We take off a half. That's 11.5. Together, these guys are 5. So 11.5 minus 5 is 6.5. We take off another 4. That's 2.5. We take off this half. That's minus 2. And when we take off the final 2, we have 0 volts. So they add up all these voltage changes to 0. That's exactly what we expect to see. Now, let's direct our attention down to the next one. This is designated as problem 1B on your sheet. For problem 1B, it's the same thing, just with slightly different values. I wanted to show you a trick on this one. I wanted to emphasize that there's an advantage to always doing this the same way, even if you know the answer's not right, which sounds kind of crazy. Here, we can see that we've got a bigger battery on the right side. We've got a 9 volt, and we've got a 6 volt over here, so we know in advance that the current has to flow counterclockwise. But you know what? We came up with a perfectly fine method before. I'm going to follow this one in exactly the same way. I'm going to go from F to G as my first step. And I wanted you to see that when I figure out how much current is flowing in this one, that's the unknown thing now, the current. What I would like to do is to show you that the negative value that we end up with is an indicator that we chose wrong. So we are going to make an assumption here. We know that it's wrong, but that doesn't stop us. We're going to assume that the current flowing, I, is flowing in a clockwise way. And we're going to continue with this technique that the currents always flow clockwise. And as I said, this is a point of convenience. If you always do it in the same way, the equations that you get always have the same look. It's just the numbers change, the coefficients change, and so you're more confident in how you can apply it to get your answer. So first component, what I'm going to do is apply what we refer to shorthand as Kirchhoff's voltage law, and we are applying it as we go clockwise around this loop. There's only one loop, so I'm just going to say KVL clockwise. All right, from F to G, I have plus 6 volts. I've got a 6-volt battery. I'm going across the right way. Here I've got an 8 ohm resistor, but I no longer know what the current is, so I just have to write minus 8I. I don't know what I got. Next thing I see is a 10 ohm, so I got minus 10I. That's just I times R. But typically, when you know the value of R, it's kind of like a coefficient, so I wouldn't write minus I10. Nobody does that. Oh, except for the people who designated the interstate highways, right? Like I-75, I-85. This is how you can tell the difference. We're doing a circuit problem, so this is 10I. All right, 3 ohm, so we got minus 3I. And coming up next, guess what we got? We've got a battery going the wrong way, so we have to subtract off that 9 volts. 3 ohm again, so minus 3I. And finally a 6 ohm. Now, you may have noticed at this point that addressing all of these resistors separately like this is kind of silly. In this one loop problem, we could have just added them all together. The 8 and the 10 and the 3 and the 3 and the 6, they all do the same thing as long as your resistors are in the same leg of a circuit. And for 2-loop circuits, that is a little bit different than just everybody being in one leg. You can add them together. But for the moment, what I've got to do is add all these together and set them equal, Kirchhoff says, to 0. This will give me an equation that can be solved to provide the unknown current, I. All right, so we've got two values, the 6 and the 9, that have no letter I in them. Adding those together gives me minus 3. I'm going to leave out all units at this point. Now, everybody else, the 8, the 10, the 3, and the 6, added together has an I on it, and they're also all negative. That's going to be my first clue that I chose my current direction wrong. 8 and 10 is 18. 3 and 3 is another 6, so that's minus 24. And another 6, that gives me 30. So I've got minus 30I. Solving this is going to be a little bit easier if I make negative signs go away. I have to bring you, I bring you over to the other side here, and your negative sign reappears. Look at that. So my I, my value for I has to be negative. Well, not a problem. It just means that we guessed the direction wrong. I did that one on purpose, but when you use Kirchhoff's laws in general for multi-loop circuits, you have no way of knowing in advance frequently what's going on in terms of the direction. So you just guess, and if you're wrong, you get a negative sign. I have minus 3 over 30. That is going to be in amps, and 3/30 you all will recognize as 1/10 or 0.1. So this is minus 0.1. Now, I'm only finished when I include my units, amps. So there we go. All right, I want to do one more quick one, and this is on the back. So I'm going to flip it over, and I'm going to do a separate video for this one because I'm limited to 15 minutes, and I'm at just under 10 right now. So I'm going to stop this one if you don't mind. Pick up with me as we flip over to the back side. I'm skipping problem number 2. That's not really a Kirchhoff's law problem. We're going to start up again with number 3. All right, here we go.